We're looking at the Pop Light Hot Air Popper by Presto. This has been a decent hot air popper for us. The only problem we've had with it is it doesn't have a power switch. So once the popping's done, you have to grab the plug, pull the plug, and generally you'll get arcing, which can frighten some people. The unit is UL approved, so it's safe, but it'd be nice if we didn't have to just pull on the plug, or as some people do, pull on the wire, which is a no-no. So I'm thinking, well, I could add a power strip, then plug this into the power strip and turn the power strip on and off, but it's in the kitchen and we don't want to take up any more counter space. So I have two switches here. This came from a vacuum cleaner, so it's rated for high amperage use. This one also came from a high amperage unit. So I'm thinking, what if I can install one of these switches inside, cut an opening for it, because these have little clamps. So all you do is you create an opening for it and slide it through and it just clips into place and it stays there. So the question that we need to determine is there enough space inside to allow for the depth of the switch? And can we get it in such a position that it doesn't impinge upon any of the electronics or operations of the unit? And most importantly, can we get inside the unit? Looking at this one, I see a Phillips screwdriver, a Phillips fastener there. I believe it's a number 2. So actually I see 3 of them. So we're gonna take those off and see what's inside the unit. With the fasteners loosened, cover comes off. Be careful you don't lose those fasteners. In this case, they seem to be attached to the base, so I'm just going to leave them alone. We see power cord coming in here. There's some connections that we might be able to tie off of for the switch. There might be an issue with trying to get the switch high up, so it might be near the bottom. So I got about 1 inch, and if we take one of our switches and we go like this, I can conceivably get a switch near the bottom. Problem is I want to put it in a convenient place, so here's where the Presto label is. So I'd be cutting it to that, or I can come on the back side of this unit, which is here. What I want to do is I want to avoid these because I want the switch to be where I can cut into it. Now another problem I'm going to have is these switches are designed for a flat surface, and this is curved. So I think it'll still catch. So the question is, if I go with the one that's already wired, which would be the most convenient, can I get enough space? And it looks like if I go up about 1/4 of an inch up, I might be able to mount something right in here, which would be the side of the unit. And it doesn't matter which side I do it on, as long as I'm avoiding the legs. I would tap in right here where the power is coming into the unit. See the red? This is coming back as a neutral. So this is where I would need to just take this wire nut off and then tie this wiring harness to there and find a place to mount it. So next thing is to mark this up so I can make a cut and not destroy a $20 air popper. So I've disassembled the unit just to show you what's inside. You have wires coming into the bottom. There are 4 resistors there, a little card to insulate, and then heating element and blower. This is the bottom of the unit. There's a collar that sits, a metal collar that sits above. And so you drop your popcorn seeds in there. They heat up, they pop, hot air blowing through it kicks out the kernels, the popped ones, leaves the seeds there, and hopefully they all pop out. And that's it. It's really basic. Then you have this case that it all sits in, and nothing more than just a hollow tube. After determining that I have enough depth to get this switch in, I know the switch measures not on the outside cover, but on the inside, 1 inch by 1/2 inch. So I took some masking tape and marked off that opening, and now, you know, you can try drilling that out. Maybe a Dremel will work nicely. Maybe even a multi-tool. I'm going to try the Dremel just because I'm working with smaller instrument, and see if I can just cut that opening out. And if I'm small, that's okay, because I can always enlarge it, but I can't make it smaller. So I'd rather come in a bit too tight for this switch than too large. Armed with a Dremel, I put a cutting wheel on it, and we're going to see if that will do the trick for us. With the rotary cutter, I did a slit top, or actually bottom, top, came in on the sides. Now you can't go all the way through on the sides because it's a wheel, it'll extend beyond where you want to cut. So I just scored on those sides. Then I did a cut down the center, scored down the middle, and now I'm coming in with an X-Acto knife, and I'm going to see if I can just punch out these quadrants or cut them out. And be careful if you're using an X-Acto, because it'll just cut. It doesn't care if it's your finger or not. So I have made a cut through there, so I'm going to try. So now I basically have a cross cut here, which means I might be able just to push these in, and because they're scored back here and here, they might just snap off. Like that. So I'm going to do that for all four, and then we'll see if our switch will fit in or if we have to just enlarge it a little bit, which would be a lot easier because I can either shave off with this blade or come back in with the cutting wheel. Using both an X-Acto knife and a utility knife, I just kept on shaving until I got the unit to start sliding in. So I know at this point it will snap in. So I'm gonna remove the masking tape, which, you know, served a dual function. Not only did it outline the hole, but it also protected the plastic from any major gouges or scratches. So now I should be able just to push that in. Ta-da! We have a power switch. Now all we have to do is wire it up. With our switch in place, I take the leads, and you might have to cut them down. You come over to the power cable. Now there are two sides to it because this is a polarized plug, and one side of the cable is smooth and the other one has a rib. The smooth side is where the power comes in on, because that's the narrow blade of the polarized plug. So coming here, there's a wire nut. I'm going to take that off, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to connect one of these to the white, and this is going to have to get dressed up a little bit. So I'll connect the switch to the white, then it goes power back from the switch, then we'll hook it up to this red which feeds the electronics to the air popper. So it's that simple. You just need some wire nuts, and I happen to have some that are about the same size. So you just wrap those together. Some people prefer to twist. I'm one of those people. I find that if you take the wire nut off, chances are that the twist maintains better. And the only this doesn't get much vibration. It's pretty vibration free. This is just a motor going in a circle and it's balanced. So it shouldn't shake loose, but I just prefer taking the two strands and twisting them together. I think I'm going to cut off the end a little bit. It's just a little too much junk hanging off of there. Take a wire nut. You got to make sure it's the right size wire nut. And if you buy them new, they'll tell you how many of a certain gauge you can get in here. And if you feel like it, you can wrap electrical tape on both ends. I probably will do that. Real electricians don't do that, but you know what? I've seen real electricians actually wrap with electrical tape. So it's up to you. For me, it's an additional safety factor. So when we come back, these will be wrapped up and we'll be ready to button the bottom end. Oh, don't forget, before you do all this, I should have mentioned it earlier, you want to get all these shavings out from inside this unit. So blow it or wipe it, because once this powers up, the fan's going to circulate and pull air in, and you don't want your shavings smoking up your popcorn as they start to melt. With the electrical tape applied to my connections and all the wires pushed down into place so nothing is binding or getting in the way, we're ready to put on our lid. It has a key for the power cord on the back, so that'll let you know that you're aligning it correctly. And then once that's in place, you should be able to fasten down the 3 Phillips screws. If you happen to have a multimeter, this one just happens to be digital, you can check to make sure that everything works the way it's supposed to before you actually plug it in, but I don't see any reason why it wouldn't work. I'm putting my probes onto the polarized plug. I flip the switch. It's set to continuity. I flip the switch. I'm getting tone. That tells me that there is current flowing through. If I flip the switch, the circuit is now open, so that means we've done this correctly. Power will stop once I throw the switch in that position and on in the other direction. So I could label that to make it easier on people who are using the machine. A project like this, depending on your skill level, could take half an hour, it could take several hours. And for some of you, it may not be worth it. Maybe you just want to spend the 20 bucks and just buy a popcorn maker that has a switch. But it was a fun project. It allowed me to repurpose an old switch and not waste a perfectly good popcorn maker that didn't have a switch. If you found this video interesting or useful, give us a thumbs up, leave us a comment, join the subscription team, and as always, thank you so much for watching.